Hello, I'm Roger Bisbee from the Skill Builder channel, and I'm down here in South Wales at Caerphilly at the Catnic factory and headquarters to talk to Richard Price, who is the technical director. Richard's gonna kind of fill me in a little bit on the thermally broken lintel. When we say thermally broken lintel, for all those who aren't really familiar with this term, it doesn't mean it's broken. It means it's thermally isolated. And this is a very big deal, isn't it, Richard?
It is now in anything to do with the building regulations and supplying lintels to do that. It's transformed Catnic, I suppose, over the last 3 or 4 years, what we make and what we sell.
Now this thermally broken, you've got a sample there, haven't you, just on the desk, if we can just bring that over, because this is different from lintels some years ago, not that long ago, would be a piece of metal with a hollow section, and there would be something like polystyrene in the middle of it or whatever.
Yeah,
so
just fill in a gap in the centre.
But there was always still a connecting piece of metal between the front.
That's correct,
and
yes,
the back.
yeah.
And that's where the problems come.
And I think it's only come about really because as housing performance has improved, you've made houses more thermally efficient.
Yeah.
10 years ago, the lintel wasn't so important. But now, as you say, the thermal performance of the wall has got better. The lintel now becomes an issue.
Becomes virtually, apart from the window frame itself, it's virtually the only contact between the inner and the outer, isn't it? The lintel.
Yes, it's with a traditional lintel is probably the worst performing thermal junction on a house. You know, every junction on a house gets looked into now and gets assessed. But yeah, with the standard traditional lintel in it.
So it was really the last remaining cold bridge.
Almost like, it was, yeah.
You get what they call thermally broken windows as well, don't you?
They've been in existence for a long time, you know.
But I mean, they are kind of, you know, there's still, if you see condensation, if you see a house that's plagued with condensation, that's still where you're likely to see
have bits around the window, that's right,
around the window. But as you say, above the window, that was the one remaining bit, really. So now what you've done here, just tell us what you have done here, because I can see one thing I would say straight away. Your lintels are black. Are they all black?
Just about all our lintels are black, yes.
Yeah, that's opposed to galvanised, shiny galvanised.
They are galvanised as well.
Yeah, so but they're coated with black over
we have
the top
galvanised seal, and then we powder coat on top as well. Yeah.
And just from a point of view of this intrigues me is that it still says on the back of the lintel to use a damp-proof course, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yes.
So even though it's galvanised, even though it's painted black, you still don't want mortar to be in contact with the lintel.
It's not so much the mortar so much, it's our traditional lintels, you could use those without a separate DPC in lots of circumstances.
Oh, could you?
And you could. But the shape is slightly different, and the profile of the lintel would tend to go back towards the inner leaf. And through work that we've done with the BBA, they were happy for us to use that without a DPC. Now, if we push the BBA, we could possibly get the same scenario with this one, but we thought because you've got the flat top on the lintel, it makes sense to have a DPC over there.
So the DPC sits on the top of the lintel, drapes down
over the front,
to the front.
Comes out over the front, yeah.
And that's interesting what you say about it used to slope back more because you weren't trying to build in a load of insulation.
Well, that's it. There's a couple of things there. Yeah, obviously as cavities go wider, you haven't got the option of really sloping it back.
Oh, got it.
But also part of the design with this was we want this to interface well with the insulation in the wall. So if you've got a slope which goes all the way back, it's very difficult to make that junction clean and tidy on site. Whereas with this particular one, you can just sit your cavity wall insulation directly on top of the lintel. You have no additional areas then with insulation missing, etc. So it makes it easier for people on site, and it gives you a better chance of actually achieving what you claim a lintel is going to do.
The other important thing that you sometimes see people forgetting or filling up is those little weeps in the front, just over the top of the lintel.
Yeah.
Which some people think is a mistake, and they fill them up. They think the bees are in there. I've seen householders where they've done that. But anyway, so what is connecting the front to the back? So the inner to the outer.
Yeah, what we've the centre bit is the important bit, really. And it is a polystyrene, but it's a very high density polystyrene.
So it's got a lot of rigidity.
So it's actually got a rigidity, and you can actually, squeeze it yourself. It is very, very, very hard. And so what we've done there, we've just bonded 2 pieces of steel to the polystyrene.
Oh, so there's nothing underneath?
Nothing underneath is absolutely...
Let's have a look underneath. Oh, Do you know what? I was expecting to see a bit of fiberglass.
No, nothing.
Running between
No
the two.
brackets, no nothing, no fixings,
Wow.
nothing. Just purely
Yeah.
the polystyrene.
And that, I mean, that polystyrene is there. It's giving obviously insulation the rigidity because you say it's dense, but there's no load on it, is there at all?
There's no load on the polystyrene. The polystyrene doesn't add strength that way. What it does do, it holds the two sections of the lintel vertical when you start building on it.
So it saves rotation.
So it stays rotated. If you think,
Avoids rotation.
yeah, if you were trying to say you just install like an angle lintel,
Yeah.
you'd have to prop it during construction to
Yes.
stop it rotating.
Yeah.
This one, you just build this in exactly like you would a standard lintel.
Oh, really? So
So,
if you're
yeah.
bringing the inner skin up first and then the outer one, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to
No,
rotate.
I mean, general recommendations, you try and balance things, whether
Yeah,
this lintel or
yeah.
anyone, but obviously it doesn't always work that way on site.
No,
Whereas,
the reality of it, a lot of the time, they want to bring the inner up quite a long way.
Get up as early as
the
you can
wall
so you can.
insulation in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the Catnic wall ties in there. Can I
Yeah,
give
that's
you a
right.
plug for that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're also into the wall ties. Do
We-
you ever see a day when they'll be thermally broken or not?
They're so thin now.
Yeah. There's not much.
There's not much of it, but they do still take them into account. You know, when you're working out the insulation of your wall, they will take the effect of a wall tie. We don't do a lot of wall ties in the UK anymore. Most of what we do just goes abroad now.
What you're doing now with the thermally broken lintel is legislation led. It's not
Yes.
that people are choosing it, it's because they have to do it now. They
Sort of have to do the building regulations since 2002 have evolved quite a lot.
Yeah.
They used to be very prescriptive, and they tell you exactly what you had to do. They've gone away from that slightly. Now they've gone more of a model where you've got like a notional building.
Yeah.
And the overall performance of that building has got to achieve a design target. But within that, you've got quite a bit of flexibility of how you achieve that overall target. So not every new house that you see will be built with a thermally broken lintel.
Okay.
They may use standard lintels in some scenarios, or these and others. But
And-
you've got
and
to.
you're still doing the standard.
We still do
You've
standard
got that
lintels.
whole range,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we don't do that. The thermally broken lintel is now a best-selling cavity wall lintel.
Is it?
But that's only come about
wow.
probably in the last 12, 18 months. Prior to that, traditional lintels was still...
So it's finally...
So it's overtaken, and I think it'll grow more yet
sure.
as more specifications come forward for it. But it'll definitely still be a market for traditional lintels, especially in renovation and extensions, etc.
Yeah.
Because the legislation which drives this doesn't quite apply the same way.
Yeah, and the new standards, the new home standards and so on, and we've got this thing called fabric first, haven't we?
Yeah.
You just explain to people what fabric first means, because some people won't, they've heard the term, but they won't know exactly what it is.
Well, I think it's come up because there's lots of technology which has been put into homes now, whether you look at photovoltaics, heat pumps, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But if you get the fabric right, then that fabric is there for the duration of the house. You know, if you build it right, your lintel is going to be there, your insulation is going to be there. But things like photovoltaics, even heat pumps, whatever, they've got to be managed, they've got to be serviced. Some of them will have a finite life expectancy. Whereas you get the fabric right, then you've got almost like a very good foundation to build everything else around. And you know what that performance is going to be. You don't have to worry about it dropping off over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
So building what we would call passive technology, which
Yes.
would be not anything active, not anything requiring people to switch it on or
Exactly.
power it or anything else. Achieve as much as you possibly can in terms of insulating the building.
Yeah.
And also keeping it, it's not only keeping it warm, but keeping it cool now. We're on a fairly warm day today.
Yeah.
We've had a record temperatures in the last week and looks like we're going to get some more of it. And that has become a growing issue.
That
now,
is
hasn't
becoming
it?
more and more of an issue, and I mean, it doesn't impact us quite so much, but I know like house builders who are having to think very carefully about their window selection and that type of thing to make sure the house doesn't overheat in the summer and whatever, you know.
But what I'm saying is, rather than trying to cure it with air conditioning, which is everyone's crying out for air conditioning now, say, let's build the building.
Well, if you've got the
so that
fabric
it's-
right, it can help both ways, can't it?
Exactly that. It's very clever insulation, isn't it? And
Yeah.
can work out whether
Yeah, you
keep
don't have
the
to
heat
tell it,
out or
which is,
keep
yeah,
it
that's
in.
right,
But
yes, yeah.
So it's basically the heat transfer either way
Yes,
that is
yeah,
the issue there.
yeah.
I hesitate to start talking about too many BS numbers and all the rest of it because people turn off. But you have to obviously get through all the different approvals, don't you? You have to get this approved by...
Yeah, there's different tiers of approval, I think. I mean, you've got to, when we came up with this, it was C marking, now it's UKCA marking. You've got to have that as a bare minimum just to sell a product in the UK. We've gone a bit further now. We've gone for third-party approval. So we've gone through British Board of Agreement approval.
Yeah, BBA, yeah.
BBA is, it's not an absolute prerequisite, but because we've done it historically on our other products, but this product, it is different. There's no other product on the market like this.
Oh, is there not?
Not exactly built the same as this one. There's ones which claim to do the same thing, but they put together differently. Yeah. So as a first...
So you say this was the first truly broken?
Yeah,
thermal
yeah,
Lintel.
definitely it is.
Saying,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to...
Yeah, there's other products out there.
Notionally,
I suppose you could call those thermally improved. They separate things as much as they can, but they still have connections between the front and back in different ways.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought this. I was assuming this one did. And it's only when I turned it over I saw that it didn't actually have that connection between the two. So you've got to get approval for all that. So
we got approval.
They will start pulling that apart, trying to.
Well, that's the first thing. Whenever we take this out, the first thing we try to do is break it.
Destructive testing.
Yeah,
I could
exactly.
do a bit of that.
Yeah,
I think I'll be good at that bit. So they just try and pull it apart, see whether it's going to stand up.
Exactly.
Like you say, it's going to be in there for a long time, isn't it? So it needs to be. There's no point in replacing it. I mean, but funnily enough, I've got a couple of bricklayer friends who make a very good living out of replacing lintels. They weren't as good as they might have been years ago. And the biggest problem they get with the concrete ones a lot of the time, is because the
reinforcement corrodes and it expands
and then it blows the concrete off. And I've heard those go. They happened to a house that I was working on next door. It went and it was like a rifle shot going off. As the concrete blew off the front. But so they get a lot of work. Taking out the concrete ones, putting in the steel ones, right? Heavy duty steel ones. So. The approval, obviously architects know about the approval, everybody else knows, but your builder, Joe Smith, the builder, the brickie, he doesn't necessarily know about all
They
that.
don't know.
How do they go about choosing lintels if they want?
I suppose it depends how diligent you want to be about it, but if you're a building, you're doing an extension for somebody or whatever, then I think from your point of view and your reputation, you want to put a product in that you know who's going to do his purpose and do exactly what it says on the tin.
Catnic,
if you've got the BBA badge on it, it shows that it's been third-party produced. He looked at what we claim and they back up and say, they've actually says you can do this. It will do that. So I think there's quite a lot to be said for that. NHBC are very big with the BBA and they want to push certified products, again, so it all helps from that point of view. As I said earlier, it's a new product into the market. We wanted to go out there with, I suppose, make sure it's believable what we're doing. We put claims out there, claims which are putting us in front of other people and say we're better than other people, and we wanted somebody else to back us up and say, they are right in what they're saying, So we've done the same with the thermal performance of the lintel. We had that third party checked as well by BRE, the Building Research Establishment, so they went away and done all the thermal modelling on it for us as well. So
that thermal performance, that's the R value, isn't it?
Psi value.
Of course we've changed now,
It's a little bit different.
I'm a bit old-fashioned here, aren't I?
R value is more to do with like a wall.
Yeah.
So it's like per square metre.
Yeah.
Whereas with a lintel, it's a linear junction.
Yeah.
And so you have the heat loss per metre. So
so that's why it's different.
So it's quite a bit different.
But they are changing, aren't they? Because at one point we used to get SAP approval for a house, and now it's changing to what's it changing?
Housing energy model. It's that's all to do with the changes in the regulations. Currently, we are on building regulation 2021, Part L 2021. You've got a future home standard, which is coming in.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it was first, the draft copy was put out about 18 months ago, but since then, obviously, we've had a change in government, which has slowed things down a little bit. Yeah. But as part of that, they're changing over from SAP, which is Standard Assessment Procedure, which is how we, I suppose, the nuts and bolts behind how we work out efficient your home is, and it just changed it to HEM.
Yeah.
There's been a little bit of a delay there, so I think actually when the new standard comes in, they're actually going to run both of them together. So you're going to run SAP and HEM. And for the period, like a transitional period, they're running both, I think, just to get things up and running really as smoothly as they can.
Yeah, just because they don't want to cut one lot off before they.
Yeah, and even it's so complicated now. Even when they've had SAP, people have found loopholes in SAP or found errors in SAP. Whereas if you do too much of one thing, you can get almost a false reading really as the word is taking you. So.
It sounds very complicated, and thank God for computers, because you can run it all through a bit of software and come up with the answers, because I wouldn't want to be trying to do the maths on it all. When you're talking about per metre, of heat loss per metre, it brings me on to another thing, which is when people buy a lintel, sometimes, for one reason or another, they get the wrong size. And you do see them taking the angle grinder to them every so often, don't you?
You do, yeah.
And I think, well, okay, you can see that, you know, that the lintel is basically the same design, regardless of length. It doesn't change, does it?
You've just got to be careful of any lintels which have like discrete brackets in them.
Ah.
And even some of our traditional lintels, they have a bracket at each end, which is only like 150 millimeters in from the end. So if you cut 300 millimeters off the end of there, you cut the bracket off the end.
See, I've never done it. I've never been that person that's cut a lintel. I'd rather take it back and get the right one. But
yeah. You have got to be careful, and it's always worth checking with the manufacturer. Yeah. Can you do it? As happens with this one, you're dead right. This is the same profile all the way through.
Okay.
And within reason, you can cut it with an angle grinder.
But if you did, then your corrosion.
Well, you've always got to be very careful, and we always recommend that you paint the edges to make sure you're doing your best to reinstate the corrosion.
You're actually, that's interesting. So you're not saying never cut the lintel.
I would say never cut it. You just got to do it carefully, that's all. Yeah. And there will be occasions on site where you do need a lintel of a specific size, which may not be a standard size. Perhaps if you've got a porch or something in between two walls or something. So you just got to be very careful how you do it, make sure you do it correctly.
Yeah. Do you envisage a day when the cavity is going to get even wider or not?
Yeah.
Do you? Really?
Even now, I mean, it depends who's using it. Different house builders have different ways of building houses. Yeah. Going back a little bit what we said earlier about you've got this notional building now, and as long as you comply with the overall figure, you can build things in slightly different ways. So some of our bigger house builders are still using 100 mm cavity, but then more regional house builders tend to use a 150 mm cavity. But we're doing work right now. We've just sold some lintels that suit a 225 millimeter cavity. My goodness. So it's huge.
Still thermally broken ones?
Exactly the same lintel as this.
Whoa.
And that is one of the benefits of this lintel, is the way it's been designed. Whatever the lintel width is, we use the same inner, same outer, and we just increase the insulation in the centre. So
and it still doesn't start to rotate or rack? Or
no, it still doesn't.
That stuff is so solid.
It's so solid.
I'm feeling it now. It's you can't put a finger dent in it. Certainly.
Yeah.
Do you think that at some point in the future you'll move away from steel as a lintel material or not?
I'm not sure about steel. It's a very good product. It's got great, the strength that you get out of it for the that lintel is 2 millimeters thick.
Yeah.
And it can carry a huge amount of load. So from my point of view, it's a very efficient component used. But I suppose it does conduct heat very quickly. But again, we've overcome that by thermally breaking it. So I'm not sure about that. We may look at the insulation product, what's actually in the centre.
Okay.
We're doing work to see if we can find more environmentally friendly options.
Not necessarily more efficient thermally, but
no, I mean, again, the EPS in the centre has got lots of good points about it.
Yeah.
But there may be more environmentally friendly things. We've done quite a bit of work recently with a company called Innovate UK, who've helped us work with a few other manufacturers to see what's out there.
Well, when you say steel is a very good material, I mean, architects now, structural engineers are just hell-bent. We seem to be putting more and more steel into buildings than we ever did.
Yeah, you're probably right, yeah.
For, you do a loft conversion, they want steel everywhere. So we always used to joke that architects have got shares in British Steel. We know who owns British Steel now. But anyway, was this factory located in this area because of the steel? Is that why it came about?
No, it came about nothing to do with that at all. When Catnic was first put together, it was 1969.
Yeah. But it wasn't because Port Talbot was down the road?
No, it was nothing to do with where the steel came from.
Oh, okay.
It was actually, the founder was a fellow called Alf Goodins, but he did actually work with someone who was employed by British Steel at the time.
Yeah.
But he had an idea rather than anything to do with the steel, and so he had an idea about using a lintel, and that's where it came about. But when it was first set up, it was a private enterprise. It wasn't connected to British Steel in any way, and so it came from that way, yeah.
And if I want to put floor joists on top of a lintel, what changes in a heavy-duty lintel? Is it just the thickness of the steel that you use, or what?
Two things really. The inner leaf on a heavy-duty one will have a channel, as opposed to we've got an angle on the back there. It's a channel actually. It has a return across the top, and you put.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
And you put a full block in the back, and then you sit your floor joists directly on top of that. You always have to have a block in there before you put your floor joist. You should never put your floor joist directly onto the lower flange of the lintel.
I don't think I've ever done that. No, I wouldn't have done that because it would look a bit strange.
It's going to be at your window head, exactly.
Window
Yes,
head.
yeah.
So I saved on that. So you have to put that. I always think putting those blocks into that channel is a little bit awkward.
It is a little bit fiddly sometimes, but
yeah.
it does make a huge difference to the load.
Is it any way you can just make some little metal tie just to keep them in place or not, or is that not anything? It's just that
really
when you're doing it, you kind of put them in. You've got to be really careful as you put them in, and
no, you have, and it is important you push them in all the way to make sure you get the full strength out of the product.
Yeah, and that channel that you're talking about is square, isn't it? It's not tapered.
It's square because obviously you're going to sit your next brick on top of it, so it's and it is a full block height,
Yeah.
So
it's given. So long as you're using something like an aircrete block or whatever, it'll pop in there quite nicely.
We try not to use them anyway. We have our own in-house shed room service where we'll tell architects or end users what lintels they need, and 80 to 90% of what we use are standard duty lintels, which are just the nice simple angle on the back. It's only where we absolutely need to that we'd ever go to heavy duty or extra heavy duty.
And what about plastering on the underside of it? Because you've got these holes in this back section here, and there's two things going on here. Plaster. So what I very often do is just plasterboard up.
Yeah.
It's just easier to stick it up.
Yeah,
there,
definitely. Yeah.
Rather than try and feed, a bonding coat or something into the bottom of the lintel. It's just an easier way to go, and I guess that's what most people are doing now.
Yeah.
On the outside of the lintel, when we look up above the window, would we be seeing some of that black there?
Yeah, you see a little bit.
A little bit, only a tiny bit.
Well, if you think about it, your brick is normally 100 millimeters. That's 90, 95 millimeters.
Yeah.
But then your window is going to overlap by circa 40, 50 millimeters. So you're seeing 40 millimeters of black.
But there isn't a product specifically to cover that.
We do a soffit cladding, which is it's just a white bit of PVC, which actually fits over the lip of the front door of the lintel.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So if you've got a white window, you put this over the lintel before you install it. Put your lintel into place, and when you offer your window up, then it looks like everything you see is the white of the window with that. We actually do some coloured soffit cladding as well. Anthracite is quite a popular colour right now, so we do a dark grey version as well.
So is that by the meters, not a specific one for each length of lintel?
Yeah, we supply by lintel length.
So that's how you do it?
Yeah.
So do you know what? I've never seen that, and I never knew about it. So that's something I've learned.
We use it quite a lot. Some of it's
really
for aesthetics, but they'll also use in coastal environments because you're giving a lintel a bit more protection.
Oh yeah.
So you protect it from the sea.
So the material is very likely to stay the same.
Yeah.
The insulation may change. Is there anything else you could do to future-proof it, or is it just kind of there now?
I think it's there now. We've got the flexibility, like we discussed earlier, about making for wider cavities. We have looked at where else we put it. We came up with the original design and concept, which was for a particular type of lintel. We've started looking at things like arch lintels. We do quite a lot of arch lintels. But they are not great from a thermal performance point of view. So whether we can do a thermally broken arch lintel, we've started some prototypes of that. So I think there's some mileage to do in there. We've done things, we do our bay windows. We can now do bay windows with a lintel over the bay window made of a thermally broken lintel. So we're starting to see more and more sales.
Is that kind of cantilevered then? How does that work?
No, the bay window, we have a post at each corner.
Okay.
And on top of the post then you'll have what we call a cap plate.
Yeah.
And then the lintel sits and is bolted onto a cap plate. And holds it together.
Cool. We don't just whack those on top of the window frame.
No. You've got to have the corner supports in there. And we're also looking at, use lintels over a lot of openings. But if you've got a big opening or a particularly heavy loaded, you sometimes still use steel work. Perhaps an RSJ or whatever with a steel plate underneath. Which structurally is brilliant, but from a thermal performance, it's shocking.
Of course, yeah.
So we are looking at whether using a similar sort of thing to this, whether we can do some sort of bonding two structural elements together, much thicker steel and obviously than this, to give us something which will give a comparable load into that type of thing.
So if somebody's after specials, you do specials?
We will do specials, yeah. We can, again, because the product is quite simple and how it's made. So if, say, you had perhaps a 150mm stone on the outside, we can do this with an extended toe.
With a boot, yeah.
We can also do it. There's one or two brick manufacturers that are now doing a 65mm brick.
Ah, yeah, of course.
So we can do a reduced toe version as well, you know, and take that back a little
Yeah.
bit. So yeah, there's lots of things like that we can do.
So
yeah.
what about these people who are just knocking out the entire back end of a house and putting in bifolds all the way across? Have you got a solution for that or not?
We've got some standard lintels as solutions where we've got steel.
Which would be really heavy duty,
Which
like you say,
is really heavy duty.
Steel beam with a boot on
With a boot on the bottom, yeah.
Right,
So we've
yeah.
got two different types of that. We've got a CXL lintel and a CBP lintel, which basically, as you say, just a steel section with a plate on the bottom. But we are looking at whether we could perhaps have a parallel face channel on the inside and perhaps a 10mm angle or something on the outside, bonded perhaps again back to something like this.
Okay.
And whether we can do that. We put some prototypes together. We haven't tested them yet. So yeah, that's a possible innovation.
Do you do the structural calculations for these or not?
Yeah.
So when the building control wants, you've done the calculations and they'll trust those, will they? Or?
Yeah, most scenarios. Quite often building control will ask like whoever's building the house, can I have calculations for this or whatever, but more often than not, they'll just, we do what we call a lintel schedule. So if you were building your own house or whatever, you can send your plans into us. We do a full structural takeoff.
Got it.
Put it all down on like a Catnic headed schedule, which is then emailed out, and more often not building control will look at that and they will take that as proof that it's been calculated by you.
Do you charge for that service?
It's a free service.
Is it?
So we have a team of engineers who that's all they do, continually do that all day long. Yeah, and they'll do it for anything from like a small extension up to a site of 200 or 300 houses for one of your major building. So yeah.
Because I bet those structural engineers are using your services.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are charging quite a lot for it, you know. So yeah.
Goodness. Oh well, I mean that's why it's a technical sale, isn't it? So you've got
it is a technical sale. That is, they're engineers, so they don't like to be called salesmen, but they are the first point of sale, really, you know. And that's that's where it comes in.
Yeah. So I spoke to your marketing lady earlier.
Charmaine, yeah.
Charmaine, yeah. And she was saying to me, well, it's a business to business role, really, isn't it? But it's architects, structural engineers, house builders.
Yeah, there's a lot of people we target. It's surprising the inquiries that we get into schedule a lintel. You know, as you said, it can come from an architect, it can come from a structural engineer, it can come from a house builder, it can come from a merchant. Lots of different
or even
avenues.
A self-builder.
Oh, self-builder, yeah. So there's quite a few different avenues that it can come in through.
So you've got to go after all those, but I mean, you've got a big brand anyway. It's very well known.
We're lucky.
But that's not a reason to rest on your laurels, is it?
Oh, definitely, you can't do that. I mean, you know,
going.
we've got competitors out there, so you've got to keep working at it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, as I say, very distinctive. The black, isn't it? I know
and there's been lots of times where people have said, "Well, get rid of the black. We have to pay a lot of money to put the black on. We have ovens and powder coating booths to allow us to do that." But it keeps coming back around now. It does a good job, and it is, as you say, it is Catnic.
Yeah, I know. I like it a lot. It's, not that you see it once it's all
in.
Built
in,
but it's something. It looks solid, doesn't it? It looks good. It looks serious. I hope we haven't been too serious here for all the people listening, but I've learnt a lot anyway. Nice to meet you, and it's nice to see you thriving. Because,
thank you very much.
You still class yourself as British down here in South Wales.
100%, yes, yeah.
British,
Welsh.
British industry. It's nice to see that you still got some industry down here, obviously, with what's going on at the steelworks.
Port Talbot, on the other side, I mean, today they're actually officially breaking ground today with the new furnace down there. So things are not all bad, you know. It's,
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, great to meet you anyway.
Thank you very much.
You know, we'll come back and see you in 20 years.
Excellent. Yes.
Well, maybe I won't. But so, if you'd like to find out more about the Catnic products, the lintels and their other products, then we've made that really easy for you because we've set up a Catnic page on the Skill Builder website. So go there, follow the links, and then you can enter the wonderful world of Catnic. What does Catnic mean, by the way?
Oh, you don't know, Joe? There's a story behind that. It actually came from the inventor of the lintel initially. He had two children, Catherine and Nicholas, and so he took the first three letters of their names, put them together, and came up with Catnic.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that's a risky strategy, isn't it? Because then if you have a third child, they go, where am I? I'm not in there. You'd have to drop him in the middle, wouldn't you? So, I never knew that, so there you are. There's another thing I can bore people with in a pub quiz.